Hi, this is Trey Passer, and this is my movie review with no spoilers of Dark Shadows, the remake, starring Johnny Depp, Michelle Pfeiffer, Helen Bonham Carter, Eva Green, Jackie Earle Haley, Johnny Lee Miller, and Chloe Grace Moretz. If you're a fan of the TV show, you know the basic premise of Dark Shadows. If you saw the trailer for this movie, you know what the basic premise is of this movie. There's my ticket stub. So tonight it never focuses, but there it is. And well, Dark Shadows, the basic story is Barnabas Collins, played by Johnny Depp, grows up in Maine, son of a rich he grows up in a rich family, and he starts to he has an affair with a servant named Angelique, played by Eva Green, and she falls madly in love with him, but of course he doesn't really love her. He's just being a playboy, and then he meets his real true love, Josette, okay, who he actually falls in love with. And of course, Angelique, being spurned and being a witch, she curses Barnabas Collins. She turns him into a vampire. And she buries him for 200 years in a coffin. Okay, and then in this, like I said, in this movie, if you've seen the trailer, you know what the basic story. He gets revived 200 years later into the 1970s, and he meets his distant relatives, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, who plays Elizabeth Collins, Johnny Lee Miller, who plays her brother Roger Collins, and their Michelle Pfeiffer's daughter Elizabeth Collins, played by Chloe Grace Moretz, who is Collins' daughter, and they live there also with Roger Collins' son, young David Collins. And basically, the story is about him, like I said, Barnabas Collins getting revived into the 70s and trying to help his family, and also trying to the witch Angelique, okay, who also turns out to be alive and well 200 years later. Okay, now let me first say a little bit of background. I never saw the Dark Shadows, the TV show, growing up, but when a few years ago, when I was unemployed, and I was watching the Sci-Fi Channel. I think they used to show Dark Shadows on it. They had they owned the rights back then, so they showed it. And I remember I got caught up in watching it and just got totally hooked on it. The stories just intrigued me, and I loved that it was so serious. And like I said, it had vampires in it, it had werewolves, okay, witches. It's just, to me, it was a great show. I know it was kind of cheesy for us, for the time period, but that didn't bother me. Just, to me, the stories were just great. I loved the acting in it, and it just kept me constantly, hooked. I got hooked just waiting to see what would happen next. And I loved that sometimes they went back in time and stuff, and it was just, to me, it was just a fantastic show to me. I became a big fan, and even when they did the remake, I think in the 90s, with Ben Cross as Barnabas Collins, I loved that show too. I think it only lasted one season, I believe. And but I loved it. I loved it, like I said, because they treated the show seriously, and that's it. It was good. I liked it. And this movie, like I said, like I say, you can tell from the tone of the trailer that they were going for more of a campy feel, and it does have that campy feel to it. But the story, to me, was sort of lacking. It was this, to me, and I realize because it's a 2-hour movie, they can't really, go into all the great things that I loved about the Dark Shadow TV show, because like I said, it's a 2-hour movie, so you have to kind of stick to one story and try to, entertain people that way. But I just felt the story, to me, was sort of lacking. It wasn't as strong as it could have been, and I definitely would have loved if this movie was more straightforward. Straightforward horror. I think I felt the same way about this movie, the same way I felt about Van Helsing. Like I'm a big fan of the old classic horror movies of the 1940s and stuff. All the Wolfman and Frankenstein movies and Dracula. And I loved how I wanted Van Helsing to be that way, to be totally serious, but they threw in, the comedy aspect in it, just totally ruined it for me. Okay, because I thought Van Helsing could have been a great movie if they would have played it straight and serious, but I guess Stephen Sommers is not that. He always injects humor into his movies, so I guess going in, I should have expected that. But Anyway, I felt the same way about that movie as I feel about this movie, Dark Shadows, the remake. Like I said, Johnny Depp is as good as Barnabas Collins. Of course, he's great, and I even like Eva Green as Angelique. I think she committed to with all her comedy and all her acting in this movie, and I think she was absolutely fantastic in this. But I just thought the story was sort of weak, and like I said, Michelle Pfeiffer's character doesn't have really that much to do until like you know, so that's why I won't spoil it. But her character doesn't really have that much to do. And she's the quote unquote head of the family, but she doesn't. And Johnny Lee Miller, to me, doesn't get to do much. Although, like I said, I love. They did a good job with the makeup with him because he looks just like the character. The actual, I forgot the actor's name who played it in the old TV series, but he looked so much like it. And I think, like I said, look-wise, the movie had a great look, but the story to me was just lacking. Is the movie entertaining? Yeah, the movie, yes, it's entertaining. Like I said, and the humor is not too crazy. I mean, the humor is good, but I just felt that the story was sort of lacking, and it wasn't as strong as it could have been. And without going into details about it, and also, like I said, if they would have done this as a straightforward, serious movie, I think I probably would have liked it more. And but like I said, is it entertaining? Like I said, it's worth a rental. I think I would say yes, definitely worth renting. But don't go out of your. I wouldn't say don't. I mean, if you're a big Tim Burton fan, I guess maybe you should go see it if you like Tim Burton's films. But I like Tim Burton's films okay enough, but I thought this story was just, like I said, I thought it was missing something. It wasn't as good as it could have been. Okay, and maybe because I wanted to be in my head, I wanted it to be a drama. It didn't live up to my expectations. I mean, like I said, the actors, they commit to playing their characters and stuff. But I just thought the story was weak, and I wish this would have been a stronger story, and maybe they would have played it straightforward, like I said, as a drama, instead of a sort of like a not like a parody, because a parody would be, but as more of a with the humor they had in it. Okay, so that's my review. Let me know if you've seen this movie. Let me know what you think. Feel free to leave your comments down below. And this is Trey Pastor saying so long and take care.